welcome you all this evening to the Village Board, the regular meeting, October 3rd, 2024, 7 p.m. It's still like summer out, so I'm going to enjoy the weather for a few days.
Can we take roll?
Christie, if you would please call the roll.
It is 7:07 on October 3rd. Here we go. Trustee Kunkel.
Here.
Trustee Bancole. Here. Trustee Priege.
Here.
Trustee Gutierrez.
Here.
And Trustee Porter.
Here. Thank you. Nice to have you all with us. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. We have a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any changes to the agenda? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll, please.
Trustee Bancole.
Yes.
Trustee Priege.
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez.
Yes.
Trustee Porter.
Yes.
And Trustee Kunkel.
Yes.
Okay, I have a presentation. Let's see here. Most of these, I think let me call Trustee Porter, Trustee Syed Husseini. Would you come to the front, please?
My wrong one.
Okay, I've got it. So this board spent more time than I've ever heard before.
Mayor, can I be on the mic, please?
Pardon me?
Can I be on the microphone, please? Thank you.
This board, in the past, has acknowledged at the last meeting quite profusely, more than I've ever heard before, your support, your accomplishments, you're willing to work with everyone on this board. And it was quite an honor. And tonight, they've all signed this acknowledgement. And you can see a few scribbled more than, yeah, thanks, buddy. So I will present this to you on behalf of the entire board. And I'd like you to hold it, and I'll hold it with you. And I'd invite the board to come down for a group photo together, because not only have you served your community well, you serve your board members well, and acknowledge your courage coming aboard. So thank you, and I'll expose this to the rest of the world. Here you go, the Village of Hanover Park. And you can see we all scribbled some notes on there. And on the back, who is this guy? Hang on. So we'll have to get a photo with the Husseini out, and then we'll flip it around. Okay, let's take a step back so we can get a good photo.
Some space.
Are we all here?
We're almost there.
Everyone who is anyone is here.
More this way. Pretend you like it. Get real close.
No, we're gonna need a couple photos because there's two sides to this sign.
Yeah.
Are we all okay? You're good? Everybody smiling? Okay. Moving around. Okay, moving around. Well, congratulations.
word, Syed?
I said enough last time, I think. People heard enough of me, right? You know what? I'm just honored to be serving on the board, and I learned so much for everybody from the board to the staff, so thank you for giving me this honor and pleasure to work with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Say hi to the staff. Shake the staff hand. Shake hands with the staff.
Yes. I didn't
Okay.
do that last time, so I wanted to.
Get down again.
Syed, Syed, there's chocolate cake. Just want to make sure you knew.
He has to hold that up so we all know who he is.
Hanging up in his new house.
Okay.
Some proclamations on that.
I have some proclamations to read. All righty. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Whereas breast cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among women worldwide, impacting millions of lives each year, and also affecting men. Whereas breast cancer is a disease that knows no boundaries, transcends age, race, ethnicity, and social economic status, affecting individuals and families across our nation and around the globe. And whereas advancements in early detection, research, and treatment have significantly improved the survival rates and quality of life for those affected by breast cancer, underscoring the importance of ongoing support for research initiatives. Whereas Breast Cancer Approach Awareness Month serves as an annual reminder of the critical need for continued education, advocacy, and support to eradicate the disease, striving for a world where no one has to face breast cancer diagnosis. And whereas individual, organizations, and communities are united in their commitment to raise awareness about breast cancer, promoting early detection, offering support to those affected, and advocating for access to quality health care. And whereas it is essential that we encourage everyone to engage in early detection methods such as self-examinations, mammograms, clinical breast exams, and they are crucial in saving lives by detecting breast cancer at its earliest, most treatable stages. And whereas the collective efforts of healthcare professionals, researchers, survivors, caregivers, and advocates have brought us closer to a future without breast cancer, reminding us that the strength and resilience of those affected by this disease. Now therefore, I, Rodney Craig, President of the Village of Hanover Park, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2024 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the Village of Hanover Park, and I urge all residents to join in raising awareness about breast cancer, supporting those affected by the disease, and advocating for continued research and improved access to health care. Let us come together as a community to honor the survivors, remembering those we have lost, and work tirelessly toward a world where breast cancer is but a memory. Personally, I've not said this before, but losing a cousin who was like 32 years old has always been in the back of my mind. She was a marvelous person. I happened to be overseas when that happened, and I couldn't be back for that moment, but it's got to work toward this, and we all have to work together to support this. Proclamation. Whereas domestic violence affects individuals and families across all communities, regardless of age, gender, race, or socioeconomic status. And whereas the impact of domestic violence extends far beyond its immediate victims, causing profound physical, emotional, and psychological trauma, and contributing to a cycle of violence that can persist for generations. And whereas it is our collective responsibility to raise awareness about domestic violence, provide support to survivors, and work towards preventing this devastating crime. Whereas October has been designated as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, providing an opportunity for individuals, organizations, and communities to unite in their commitment to end domestic violence. And whereas countless advocates, survivors, and organizations tirelessly dedicate themselves to addressing domestic violence, providing shelter, counseling, and resources to those in need, and promoting education awareness about this critical issue. Whereas the theme for Domestic Violence Awareness Month 2024 is Heal, Hold, Center, which provides action-oriented ways to practice racial and survivor justice. The theme calls on practitioners to embrace the varying ways of different cultures heal from violence and oppression. This is essential for fostering environments where survivors are included, respected, and supported. And whereas by raising awareness and fostering a culture of respect, equity, and nonviolence, we can create a society where everyone feels safe, empowered to live free from the fear of domestic violence. Now, therefore, I, Rodney Craig, President of the Village of Hanover Park, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the Village of Hanover Park. I'd also like to say that as a leader on one of the Wings boards, I've asked, I can't be at this year's gala, but I've asked Trustee Ken, Trustee, I want to say your first name, Trustee Gutierrez, to accept this and take it with you to the Wings Gala on our behalf as the Village of Hanover Park. We need 100 Wings organizations. Proclamation, whereas Hinduism, I hope I said that right, is the third largest region in the world with millions of followers in the United States, including many in Hanover Park. And whereas Hindu Americans represent one of the fastest growing communities in the country. And whereas the rich tapestry of the United States is woven from diverse cultures and traditions, and our nation is home to people from every corner of the globe, including those who practice the ancient and vibrant faith of Hinduism. And whereas Hinduism is one of the world's oldest religions, has made profound and enduring contributions to the field of philosophy, science, art, literature, and spiritually enriching the shared global heritage, and whereas Hindus in the United States have played an integral role in shaping our nation's culture and social fabric, contributing to their wisdom, values, and traditions, which have fostered unity, diversity, and understanding among our citizens. And whereas the celebration of Hindu Heritage Month provides an opportunity for all Americans to learn more about the rich culture and spiritual tradition of Hinduism and to honor the many ways where Hindu Americans have enhanced our society. Now, therefore, I, Rodney Craig, President of the Village of Hanover Park, proclaim the month of October 2024 as Hindu Heritage Month. I think I just read this one.
Yes.
Oh, okay. This is also the first day of Rosh Hashanah, and I wish happy Rosh Hashanah, Happy New Year to those of the Jewish faith. Where am I? Where did the college? Oh, Town Hall. What did I do with my agenda? Town Hall sessions. Mr. Hain, Bob Hain, 5317 Niven, would you like to say a few words, sir?
Yeah, how many minutes are you gonna give me?
Yeah, you got
5
30
minutes.
seconds, buddy.
Thank you.
Bob and I go way back, so I can.
Bob, can you just turn the microphone towards you?
Sure.
Thank you.
I have been here many times, and this is hopefully my last time. I just want to review all the things that I have said when I've come here.
Okay.
There's an underground spring that comes up in the middle of Niven Lane. For 50 years, it's been creating ice in the winter. And everybody says, oh, we'll get it next year. And no one ever does. And cars slide off to the curb, you know, and have problems. Moving on. Here's a really interesting one. Stairway in County Farm Road has
Sorry,
a
sir, where is that? What street?
stairway.
No,
Niven?
County Farm Road,
The previous statement you made, what street is that on?
Niven Lane.
Is that the,
Niven.
okay, thank you.
David Niven, remember him? All right, anyway, this intersection has a blind spot, and I've been talking to Public Works, anybody who would listen to me for years, and today I found out that wall that's blocking everything is all part of DuPage County. So, the roads, streets and sanitation from DuPage. So no one from here, from Hanover Park, has ever looked into it to any degree because they would have found out that it wasn't even your problem. So, but it's an indication of what they haven't done to help us. The same thing goes with the sign on Redford and Stearns. You know, you got this white line in the road. You know, you stop your car there. That's the rules of the road. And when you stop your car there, you can't see anything because the sign's in the way. Moving on. Okay, they didn't help us at all. The boulders. You guys talked to the lawyers to find out what you should do when you should have talked to the voters to find out what the best thing is. Because there's never been an accident hitting a boulder. And if the boulder's not there, it might hit a kid in his front yard. Moving on. Snow removal. We have 3 feet or less parkway at the bottom of our cul-de-sacs. And the plows come and they just fill it up, you know? And then we hire somebody to move all the slush that the trucks have dumped there. And it costs us a lot of money. And it's what you guys, you know, the village, say that they can't help. And so we're stuck. We need that access to get to the park and the clubhouse. All right. Speeding on Redford. I called maybe 2 years ago and had the village come out, and they did. They came out and they brought out a machine that determines how fast the cars are going when they're leaving our neighborhood. Well, they didn't do it the other way, which is what we wanted. How fast are they doing when they come into our neighborhood? Because half of Redford is open field and half of it is our neighborhood. So they didn't do that right either. And they didn't contact us a lick. The parkway on Stearns and Redford, that big field that's there has now been purchased by the DuPage County Forest Preserve, which is insane because on 4 sides it's covered by neighborhoods. But anyway, they bought it, and now no one can figure out who's supposed to cut the grass on Stearns because it doesn't belong to me. It's not my job. But when you're coming east on Stearns Road and you see this sloppy, untended parkway, and then you see our beautiful sign. So that's what Hanover Park looks like. Because you look across the street, directly across the street from our sign, it's a beautiful Bartlett sign. You know, there's no comparison. Just 2 more.
In 35 seconds.
Thank you. You guys did one great job, and that is you planted a whole lot of trees in our parkways. And all the ones in my block and the intersection are doing great because when it doesn't rain, I go out there with 5-gallon buckets and I pour water on them. The village should be maintaining them. I know that they have a truck with a big water tank on it because I saw them watering the new plants by the sign. When it's drought, like we have had the last month and a half, they ought to be watering just the ones they planted because this neighborhood's been there for 50 years. You'd think we have some 50-year-old trees. We don't. We have almost nothing. And it, again, reflects on Hanover Park. Excuse my quotations.
Bob, your time is up.
Okay, last thing, that wall that is on County Farm Road, it's on association property. And so we're taking action to get it moved because no one else did. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
The wall on what?
On County Farm Road and Redford? No, County Farm Road, you got me off track. County Farm Road and Stearns. There's a wall there that prevents us from seeing around the corner. Okay? And for years I've been talking about it. And now I find out, because I researched it, that it doesn't even belong to Hanover Park. It belongs to the DuPage County. But nobody bothered to look into that to find out. And I spent hours and hours trying to find out after asking you guys. I'm sorry, I'm out of time.
Sir,
Thank you.
sir, just, two questions. The matter that you addressed after Niven Lane,
Yeah?
could you repeat that one?
The boulder.
That's the blind spot on Stairway and County Farm Road.
Okay, thank you. And then,
That's all about this wall, you know?
I thought Niven Lane was the water coming up.
That is, I didn't, water on Niven Lane.
okay.
Are you getting me confused here, sir?
You said Stairway and Stearns?
Pardon me?
And Stearns?
Stearns?
Farm. County Farm.
Wait a second, guys.
Okay,
Don't-
County
don't
Farm.
throw
Thank you. Thank
Simple words at me.
okay, thank
What do you want to know?
you. Okay, I believe I got everything else.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Have a good day, all.
You rolled these up over how many
Pardon?
years? You've rolled these up over at least 40 years.
This is it, I'm done.
Okay, thank you, sir. All righty. Village President's report. I got my list. I'd like to, first of all, congratulations Syed on his future endeavors. I know you're going to be busy in the future. And enjoy your new home. This week I've been meeting lunch with Habitat for Humanity. The women's build is going on this week at noon at 11:30. I show up and thank everyone for their efforts. What we learned over the last, they've been here 8-10 years, that not only are they helping families into homeless, but there's an education process. They help move into the home, they help build the home. The women build, they all come out and they help paint and help with the final construction of these homes. So there were about four of them are being finalized right now before the end of the year. I can't attend next week on Wednesday, Thursday, and I think Saturday. So I'm got a Metro board meeting, I got a number of other meetings, and I'm taking my son to a tournament in Tennessee for Pokemon. I don't even know what Pokemon is, but I'm going to Tennessee.
Your grandson.
My grandson, yeah. My son's a little old for that, but yeah.
Brian's a little.
So I may learn what Pokemon is. But in Habitat had 10 homes in Tanglewood and 23 homes they're finalizing their building out in our town. And 80% have assisted single moms. I think this has been wonderful. I'm number 3, can't read my own writing. Continue my commitment to the hearings concerning transit that are ongoing. The Senate's had a number of hearings. The House now has a special committee. I was on board with all of them for a couple hours. Good dialogue, good discussion, great questions. Last night, I was in a learning mode with pickleball with the village manager. She said, "You got to come with me." Oh, okay. I got a pickleball, what do you call them, mallet, paddle,
Oh, yeah.
for a couple of years. I finally unwrapped it, and we had an enjoyable time The Park District's doing a great job with their leadership on pickleball. Yes. Number 6, Caputo's had their grand opening. I went there for a preliminary ribbon cutting. Last Saturday, they had their grand opening, and they're doing wonderfully. I had to, as we're coming to reopen after a year, investing $3 million. I'm very appreciative for that. IDOT decided to tear up Lake Street in front of their business, diverting a lot of their customers, and made a personal phone call to the Region 1 director, and he said, "Rod, I can't believe it. How about if I come out tomorrow morning and we meet with everyone, 9 o'clock in front of the store?" I said, "Yeah, bring all your engineers and all your smart people." And so we did. We had a wonderful meeting. They made some changes so that if you're coming off the 390, you can only go to the right. The left turns were really messing up the whole flow of traffic. So that'll be ongoing. He authorized them to work late as long as the sun was out, and he authorized them to work on a Saturday. The goal is to have this completed by the end of October as opposed to going into next year. So whether contributing, that should be great. For some of you, went to Chicago Heights with me, and I think got a bunch of you right here. We visited Chicago Heights with the encouragement of Trustee Porter. Thank you, Trustee Porter. And we saw a construction, the finalized construction for homeless veterans. Well, 84, I think, apartments. Was that the number? It's beautiful. $33 million they invested in that. They're planning one in Evanston. And I made a comment. Hanover Park is on the west side of Cook County. I think you got to consider us. So we'll see how that dialogue goes, but we've opened that. The door is open. We're planning a meeting with Chappie, somebody in the city, some department.
Yeah, Housing Authority?
Yes.
Manila, Childers.
Okay. Oh, Childers. That was the name. So this is.
That's the board that I sit on, the Housing Authority of Cook County.
Okay. Herb is really helping us along, and we do appreciate Herb's efforts in that event. And if we can figure something out here, we'll blame Herb. But it's all good. There's an event over at the Park District, the celebration of Navratri. I don't know if I said that right. A cultural event in the Indian Hindu community, and I'm so confused. Last year it was the Muslim community that was leading that, so we're still figuring this thing out. We've asked them to make sure they give us a 60-day notice on these events that bring in, they say 5,000 people, but it's more like 400 or 500 a day, which we can manage our way through. PD is well prepared, having gone through this last couple of years, so thank you to PD. Happy Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah. I'll do that till I get it right. Apologies. And finally, on November 11th in the evening, it's Veterans Day. We have a guest speaker, Wes Beckton. He'll be our keynote speaker on the November 11th Veterans Day event at 7 p.m. I hope you can really make it. He's a former platoon leader in the DMZ of Korea, and later was commander of the U.S. Army Honor Guard, and I guess that's in Washington, D.C. He's a fine gentleman, and I serve on the Metro board with him. So I look forward to that evening. Next, I have action on the President's appointment of Troy Albeck to fill the unexpired term of a trustee due to a vacancy in the office occasioned by the resignation of Syed Husseini. I read that after this. The motion that the village board consent to the appointment of Troy Albuck to the office of trustee for the unexpired term of Syed Husseini. We have a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Good evening. Mr.
Can you turn your mic on?
It's on.
Oh, it
Oh,
is.
can you hear me?
Yep, that's what thank you.
Okay. Mr. Albuck, it's a pleasure to meet you here tonight. I know this must be very exciting. It's, I think many of us on the board would say that this is definitely a position that is gratifying, and we really enjoy serving our community in this way, in this really special way. I've just gotten to meet you tonight. I think some of the others on the board have already been able to meet you and build a relationship with you. I know that it was explained to me that this is more of an expedited process, so members of the board weren't able to take part in maybe more formal opportunities to learn more about you and how you govern and your values and the interview process. And so because I'm just meeting you tonight, this is a vote that I would be abstaining from. But I do hope that I get to know you a little bit better, and that we can work together in a collaborative manner and do what's best for our residents. So I just wanted to say that and explain my my future action. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee. Very well done. If you would come on up. Bring Val with you. Huh? Oh, yeah, I tend to forget, motions and seconds and vote taking.
I have a first and a second. Can I take roll?
Please call the roll.
Trustee Prigi?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
And Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Thank you. And Trustee Bancole, abstain. Thank you.
But don't you say my name?
You have to
You
call.
have to say my name.
Trustee Bancole?
Abstain.
Thank you.
Oh. Not doing good tonight. I tried drafting the judge, but when they heard your name, they said, forget it.
They see me too much already.
Mayor, can you do me a favor? Can you go to the microphone? So I can get it on. Thank you.
I'm going to do this till I get it right. Please raise your right hand. I, Troy Albuck,
I, Troy Albuck,
having been appointed to the office,
Can't hear. 1 second. 1 second. We're gonna get a picture.
don't you love it? You're going to be tougher on me than he is, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, I said that because Val is our Citizen of the Year. Then I discovered this guy.
too bad you're not getting her.
Having been appointed to the office of trustee in the village of Hanover Park, Illinois, in the counties of Cook and DuPage, aforesaid, do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
I'll support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of trustee
of the office of trustee
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
You heard him, Val. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Please,
people. Slide over.
They throw popcorn? You want me in the middle?
Sure.
No.
Come on.
Just do this.
All right.
Maybe just be centered. One, two, three. One more, one, two, three. This way. Please don't move, Mayor.
Give me your hand.
Yes.
Very good, very good. Oh. This is one of those nights, we're gonna do it till we get it right.
Okay.
Please, shake hands with your board members.
Sure, let me start.
Welcome. You messed my phone.
Lisa.
Clean and crew is not gonna be.
You gonna do that to your door?
Okay, we got it.
I couldn't first.
You can go there.
You've got to come around this
Yeah,
way.
you can come around.
And you get to sit here. You gotta come around.
Oh, just.
I didn't want to do it because you have to do it each time you come up here. Once the turn's ready, it's good. He did it.
Well, Saya gave me a thumbs up following the parade. It was good you got to spend that much time together. We'll continue with the meeting and we'll take a break when we get to the manager's portion. We'll take a break for some cake and coffee and celebrate two fine gentlemen. Thank you. Okay, are we all signed, sealed, and delivered?
And delivered.
Very good. Moved by approval of honors vote items on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Thank
Those
you.
are items 7A1 through 7A8.
Very good. Thank you. 789.
Nope.
Nope.
Take roll.
Take a vote.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Yeah, so-
Trustee Brigi?
Yes.
Trustee Albeck?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
And Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
You, Barbie,
Was there a motion?
There was, yes.
we had a motion and a second.
Gutierrez and Brigi.
Oh,
Thank you. Not missing it.
Listen, after almost 18 years, you'd think I know to take a roll, wouldn't you?
It's okay. We forget. It's okay.
7A9.
789, Village Board is requested to review budget detail. And if in favor, move to authorize out-of-state travel for Trustee Porter to attend the National League of Cities Summit Conference November 13 through 16, 2024 in Atlanta, Georgia. We have a motion?
So moved.
And we have a motion and a second. And we discussed this earlier in the year. From my perspective, Trustee Porter had a few setbacks and wasn't sure, so now it's coming back before us at this time. Trustee Porter is really vested the last few years, so I hope we can find a way to figure this one out. Thank you. Any discussion? Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Albeck?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Abstain.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
And Trustee Brigi?
Yes.
Thank you. 7810, move to waive competitive bidding and approve the personal computers and monitors from Dell Inc. in the amount of $47,542.81. Two-thirds vote of the corporate authorities is required.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Brigi?
Yes.
Trustee Albeck?
Yes.
And Mayor Craig?
Yes.
Thank you.
7811, move to approve warrant 10/3/2024 in the amount of $4,893,803.38.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Kriegi?
Yes.
Trustee Albeck?
Yes.
And Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. 7/8/12, move to approve warrant paid in advance, 8/30/2024 through 9/26/2024 in the amount of $1,682,303.78.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Kriegi?
Yes.
Trustee Albeck?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
And Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Thank you. 7/8/13, approve August 2024 P card in the amount of $31,969.20.
So moved. Okay.
Need a second?
Second.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Kriegi?
Yes.
Trustee Albeck?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
And Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Move to take a 10-minute break to enjoy some cake. All in favor? Nod, the mayor takes direction.
Hi.
I'm calling a recess. Move to recess. All right. I saw that cake. I had it today.
treasurer's report for August 2024.
Do you want?
The treasurer's report for August 2024 is in your packet. We'd be happy to answer any questions, if you have any questions regarding that.
Any questions, anyone?
No.
Hearing none, Remy does a great job, so.
So, continuing from, there was one item left that, a carryover from the workshop. This is just to, we can have further discussion during the revenue section of the budget discussion, but I wanted to raise it here this evening because it applies to our road program. So, as we talked of earlier, the strategic plan that we're coming to an end, the board said that they wanted to really have us focus on our road program, our infrastructure, and so we've dedicated most of our, a large amount of funds, whether it's been grant funding or a transfer from the general fund, using our MFT funds, for a very, very robust street program. 2025 is almost as robust as 2024, but as part of that process, we are using all of the reserves in the Road and Bridge Fund. So by the end of 2025, we will be down to like $100, right? 100,000.
Like $250.
$250,000. $250,000 will be left in the Road and Bridge Fund balance at the end of 2025, doing all of our programs. And so we'll still have our MFT funding and we'll still be able to do that program, but in order to do more, what did we say? By the end of next year, we'll be 40% complete with our roads in town. We're recommending a gasoline tax increase. And so in the portal was a survey of where other communities are at. We're at 2 cents a gallon. And we provided the detail in a memo to you that outlined that with a 4% or a 4 cents additional estimated 200,000. So 2 cents is what we already have. It would be an additional 2 cents would grant or would bring in an additional 200,000. If we went to 5 cents a gallon, which again, we have the 2 cents, it would be an additional 3 cents per gallon. It would bring us 300,000, and those funds would go directly into the Road and Bridge Fund and then be available to either build up over the years or to spend towards the 2026 road program. We will continue.
I didn't see the documentation that you sent out for that, so I'll just ask the question.
Okay.
How does that place us in relation to the surrounding neighborhood community?
Do you want to pull it up? I didn't think we'd need, but
Yeah.
can we pull it up on the screen? So we have from DMMC communities, which are the DuPage County side, and then the Northwest Municipal Conference, so the non-DuPage County communities. Our recommendation is to increase the amount of the cents to either 4 or 5. This will capture the revenue from our residents, but also those coming into our community, driving through our community, and will provide funding for continuation of our road program.
So my question is, I see now on this list, but it doesn't include Streamwood, Bartlett, Roselle.
So they don't have a gas tax at all.
They don't have one at all.
Right.
So is there then a danger or a possibility that if our neighboring communities have no gas tax, and then we go up to a 4%, will we be basically driving people to drive a few miles past the borders of our town into the surrounding neighborhood to purchase their gas, which I know is a practice that a lot of people regularly do?
Potentially, although I think, we have gas stations that people are just gonna, they're gonna use for convenience. So we have how many gas stations? 5? Six gas stations throughout town. This would add either 2 or 3 cents to each gallon they purchased.
Okay,
I mean, I guess the revenue needs to come from someplace.
Sure, I
and
get that.
so
We gotta raise it.
yeah, and so this is our recommendation would be that we can say that it's definitely targeted towards a goal of the village board to continue with our robust road program, and this would capture the revenue from both residents and non-residents versus like a property tax increase, which would be all on the property owners.
And this would be applied to both DuPage and Cook County?
Throughout
stations?
town, yep. And our recommendation would be that it go into place this year, that we have it on an agenda in December, have it effective, or no, January 1st. So it needs to have so many days prior to effectiveness. So I think we were talking about 60 days?
Yes. So we need
Doesn't it have to go in October?
in October.
October,
Yes.
Okay.
Did
to
we
be
do any-
effective January 1st.
Did we do any type of study or whatever to see how this would impact the buying patterns of our residents? Because quite frankly, I'm concerned as a resident, were I not sitting here on the board and I was faced with buying gas here in Hanover Park and traveling a few miles to Streamwood and purchasing it without that additional price. When people are looking, you're literally driving down the street and you see $3.79, and then you drive past another station that's got $3.59. You're going to the $3.59 station, even if it's a couple of miles away. I mean, that's just.
But, yeah, I mean,
how-
and
how
that's
it-
like, I guess I would say yes, for maybe 20 cents you would do it, but would you do it for 2 cents?
Yeah,
I
think
don't-
or 4 cents.
Just a question. The sales tax, the state of Illinois sales tax and our local sales tax is applied to the sale of gasoline, isn't it?
It's a separate one. The gasoline tax, it's a separate. There is no tax, they're not taxing you 9% or something on the gasoline.
Say again?
Gasoline is just, it's a different part. That's why we have the MFT, the motor fuel tax.
No, I know, but there is a state of Illinois sales tax. on the
If you
sale.
buy something inside the gas station,
not the
those are
gasoline?
sales tax, but not
But not the
gasoline.
gasoline.
Not gasoline. Those are being taxed separately.
I see the major,
I don't know if that's
So I bring it up, this is, again, this is just to raise it as we're talking about capital this year. We have enough funding for capital in the recommended capital for 2025. We would like to have the gas increase, tax increase go into effect on January funds so that we can start collecting it through 2025 so that it's available for our road program when we start having budget discussions for 2026, that we would have generated additional either $200,000 or $300,000 in revenue for that program. We can have further discussion during the revenue portion of the budget discussions, but there are only so many revenue sources that we can generate additional funds from. And we'll talk about some of those others during that process, but this one directly relates to the capital projects we're able to do.
I
Now,
would just be curious during 2025 to see what the trend is in terms of volumes of gallons that are sold in Hanover Park in terms of 2024 actual and then year-to-date and then 2025, you know, actual on a monthly basis, just to see if the trend lines are remaining steady or if there is a decrease so that we can.
so you're saying if the tax went into play, if the tax
If
is
it goes in
approved?
place,
okay,
just
yeah.
how it affects
And we
the
can
buying
try-
patterns
Yeah.
of our residents.
And we can get you the gallon trends for up to now, up to through 2024, but that's how
Okay.
Remy was able to calculate how much we would expect to receive from that. And along Bernie's, we can give you the breakdown of how gasoline tax is broken down and what's charged to it, the sales tax. I'd like to look a little more into what you're suggesting.
So the difficulty is that if it is subject to the sales tax, if it is subject to your home rule tax, if it is, that tax is on the gross amount of the sale. The 3 or 2 or 4 cent tax is on the per gallon, isn't it?
Right.
Yes,
So if a gallon costs, say, $3, there's money coming in from the sales tax on the gross sale. If that is the case, and if you cause your sales to drop because you're not competitive with your neighbors, you could end up with a net loss if that's the case. But you might just want to check into that. I'd be concerned about that.
So,
2 cents on a, I paid $3.90 for a gallon in town. And, you know, 2 cents on that, that's a low percentage. You know, 2 cents on $4 is what?
That's what we have currently?
0.25%.
well, and I believe, some of our gas stations are currently lower than our neighbors, so it'll be at or, I mean, it's not like we're already above our neighbors, and this would be adding more to it. And who knows, I mean, our neighbors can increase theirs at any time as well through the same process. So we're all trying to find revenues and being competitive.
So Roselle just passed home rule,
Right,
and they're looking at increasing or having a gas tax.
right, correct. Yeah.
And the 2 gas stations we have are principally people not from Hanover Park, whether it's the Shell or the Thorntons. The Thorntons is people coming through that live in Carroll Street, which are already being charged 4 cents. So I think this is an avoidance from having to raise property tax, and I try to avoid raising property tax. And I've talked to a number of communities, and a lot of them are looking at, you know, implementing the gas tax similar to some of us. I can't read what you got up there, but it's, that's part of the discussion.
I think the other sheet is easier to read if you just want to bring up the memo.
Well, I got this thing.
I mean, it just shows you that there are communities that are at the 4, 5, and 6 cents per gallon. Up there, several at the 2 where we are at as well.
Unless you're Bolingbrook.
You're at 9.
So, this will come up again, but we want to have the conversation that if we're going to have it in place for January 1, we would want to put this on in October, November.
Well, it has to be submitted in October, so we're probably talking September.
Well, we're in October right now, so if everybody were to say today that you're interested in it, then we could put it on the October 17th agenda. We can also put it on the October 17th agenda, have further conversation, and then it can be deferred to November if you wished. or if you want to wait until all the revenue discussion, what day are we doing
Let's
that?
have a
23rd.
preliminary poll.
We're
of the
doing that
board.
on the 23rd.
Why don't we just
So-
have a preliminary poll?
Wait, so you're saying to increase from 2 to 4 cents or possibly 5 cents? Because we're
Either one.
currently at 2.
We're currently at 2
And that's per gallon.
per gallon. And again, can bring you I would include in the packet for this discussion, the further detail, Bernie, that you're suggesting, so that everybody understands the breakdown.
So, I think for the past several years, I would say most people have found that inflation is very real and that it's hurting their pocketbooks. And they have seen food prices rise, but they've also seen gas prices rise. And I'm not quite sure that you would notice the 2 cents, but it's almost like the principle of it to raise the taxes on something that our residents likely would not like to have the taxes raised on. So I just think I'm very sensitive to things that you need to survive. So like food, shelter, water, gas to get to your job so that you can survive. So I think I would be in favor, there's a bunch of categories, I would be in favor of exploring another category. But I personally have some concerns about, I mean, if we go to 4 cents, like it's 4 cents, but we're literally doubling our tax. It's not even like an incremental, it's like double. So that's where I currently stand. And I think I share some of Trustee Porter's concerns as well as, you know, it's 2 cents, but are we now driving out business? Because literally everyone around us doesn't, I mean, except for Carroll Stream, all the other municipalities that we bordered don't even have this tax. So those are my concerns.
I understand, yeah. I think, in talking with, we're having the revenue discussion on October 23rd, right, Wednesday, at our workshop. I think we'll bring it back with all the detail and have a discussion with all of you as a whole. We're at the point where we need to look, if we want to continue with our capital program the way it is, we need to find another revenue source. So I think that staff has been aggressive in trying to find grant funding, and unfortunately the grant funding takes a long, we might get approved for a grant, but then it takes several years to actually get the funding for the program, and we will have the MFT funding continue. But John, do you want to explain kind of, or TJ, how we break down what that funding goes for, the 2 different fundings? The MFT funds goes towards X, and the other 1.1 million like in 2025.
So MFT funds we collect, that's the motor fuel tax. That goes right now just to resurfacing streets, and consists of our main road program. Road and bridge, there's a lot of other things in there, including maintenance of the roadways, maintenance of the sidewalks, in addition to extra money for resurfacing streets as well. So the last couple years, we've been fortunate enough to have basically almost double our MFT dollars in the road and bridge, so we can do quite a lot of streets. And that's put a big dent in it, but we still have a lot of streets to do.
Here's a radical thought, and I'm glad we're going to have another discussion during revenue before we have to make a decision on this, because I think it warrants that. But might we not achieve the same goal of increasing revenue if we became the cheapest gas in the area and not increasing and drawing, volume, looking at the volume of business if we were the destination because we had the cheapest gas in the area rather than one of the more expensive gas options? I mean, it's just the out-of-the-box thought process that I'm having. You know, could we achieve the same goal by increasing volume rather than increasing the price?
Go ahead.
Trustee Porter.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, John and I were just thinking about that concept and pulled up Gas Buddy. And we were already, for the most part, not entirely, but for the most part, cheaper than our neighboring communities. And in some cases by 12 or 14 cents. Because the gas prices typically don't work on even a microeconomic scale. It's a subatomic microeconomic scale because it's by intersection. So we were specifically looking at Streamwood's gas prices, and almost without fail, or most of them, were all significantly higher than ours. Schaumburg as well, and other communities as well, but we were just looking at contemporaneous prices immediately right now. And we were already the most competitive, well, and low prices.
I think the other.
And I
thing-
trust that you've done, I didn't have that data
Yeah.
or that information, but it was just a thought that
Yeah.
crossed my mind. Might that be an option?
I think also the other thing, and again, we'll provide the breakdown, we control very, very small portion of your price per gallon of gas. So there's other, you know, the state hit and the county and all of those add on. So depending on what county you're in and what the gas price is when they buy it. So we'll bring it, but we spent considerable amount of time talking about revenues and looking at the 10-year plan and looking forward to the next year. And we'll have to figure out something, either that or we'll, you know, have to modify the capital and the amount that we do each year.
If I understand it, the state bumps it, a cost of living every year, correct?
What are you referring to, Mayor?
To the MF, you know, to the cost per gallon? Don't they have it?
Currently, the state collects 18 cents per gallon.
And the county collects too.
So each level, they each take a bite.
Yeah, but I think the state changed a couple of years ago about automatic increases instead of waiting 20 years before they adjust it. So like early in the year, you hear the state's raising the gas tax. You know, that was something they did a few years ago. So I think there's an automatic cost of living bump from the state on an annual basis. We're looking for a one-time 2%, 2 cents per gallon, which is less than what they bumped this year's. And I think it'll help with our revenue for our continuation of paving streets. What are we at, 40%?
We will be at the end of this year.
Can we also get, when we go to discuss this again, to add on what Trustee Porter was saying, can we get an impact of how it would affect the planning if we didn't do this based on the percentage of streets that you're getting improved by per annum? So in other words, a cost risk analysis of this is what we get if we do implement the tax, because we get to this percentage of streets, and if we don't implement the tax, we only get to this percentage of streets. Just a projection, like an estimate, that would be great.
Sure. Can we also,
I mean, you also get a percentage of the motor fuel tax that's imposed. I think it's a pretty high percentage, if I remember correctly. So you have to always keep in mind that as you ever do something that might reduce the volume of the gasoline sold, you will affect that also. So I'm just saying that I think it's a sort of a complicated way to figure out the whole thing, to determine whether you're ahead or behind. That's all I'm concerned about.
I understand your concern, but right now, we have a lower gas per gallon rate than our neighbors do. We have roads that we need to complete. After this year, we will be at $250,000, which is nothing in a road program in the fund balance. And we need to make a decision on how we want to handle our road program going forward. We will bring the breakdown, we will bring the gallons, and we can also outline like in more detail about how John was explaining how the breakdown is and how we use the dollars. But if we're gonna make a decision about increasing this gas tax, which I'm recommending at either 2 or 3 cents, additional cents, we'll have a conversation on October 23rd, but in order to have it in place and start collecting at the first of the year, we will have to put it on an agenda soon after. But you'll get the whole, like, all the revenues. Now, maybe you'll say to me, you want to increase property tax instead. Well, that's only going to get, each percentage gets us
137 for 1%.
So 1% of a
137,000.
property tax increase is going to get you 100 and some thousand. This is for 2 cents on gas, which is going to capture people outside our community as well, is going to get us 200,000.
Right, increasing property tax, we're just giving all that to our residents because it's a property tax in Hanover Park, and we don't want to do that.
It has other implications in that it changes our tax rate in terms of economic development and what the property tax rate is. So, but we'll go through all the revenues and have a discussion, and I just wanted to introduce it, just because of the timeline as well.
Really quickly, when you do bring it back, can you also maybe provide us a report that talks about the projection of the cannabis tax? And then can we maybe also have a conversation on what the future of cannabis within the village looks like? Because I think we're still, that's still a cash cow, and we're still not really, we haven't reached our full potential. I know we're working on it, I know we're working hard on it, but that's, that's more of a recreational want versus a need, right? And I think that's also maybe where some of our concerns are. And then I'm gonna piggyback off of what you just did, what is it, wild idea? Is that what you just said, wild idea? Our capital, I briefly touched on it during our workshop, but some of these capital projects, if we go about it the right way, can be funded by the federal government. If we put forth a strong application with the assistance of a lobbyist who is well-versed in federal funding. Right now, we don't have a lobbyist that provides that service. If we just maybe have like a 6-month contract with them, maybe that contract is $15,000. Well, if that brings in maybe $700,000, $800,000, well then that $15,000 is worth it, and we don't have to increase taxes on any of our residents or the surrounding. So there's other ways. I think that there are other avenues in which we can think about funding our capital projects that don't involve increasing taxes, any taxes on our residents or maybe those that purchase within the village. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
Look forward to the 23rd, and thank you for giving us a courtesy heads up on revenue. Moving on, village clerk's report?
Okay.
Yeah,
Manager, are you done?
I'm finished, thank you.
okay. Christie?
Okay, last night I got to attend the DuPage County Clerks meeting, which was super awesome. We got to talk to records retention, and with all of the new Laserfiche that is going on in the village and our scanning documents, the Village of Hanover Park, I'm super excited. In 2025, the clerk's office will be redoing our inventory of what we have here in the village and where it all lies, and it'll be super exciting to get that all updated. Next week, just so you all know, I will be out at Municipal Clerks of Illinois training from Sunday all the way through Friday. So it'll be a nice long week in Bloomington Normal. So say your prayers and hopefully everything gets done.
No babies on your tail?
Nobody's coming with me. It's me, myself, and I. Actually, I think Schaumburg and Hoffman Estates clerks are coming, so I'm excited to get to know them and chat more with them. And build a relationship. And then lastly, I just want to touch base on the open house that is coming up on Saturday from 10 to 2 at the fire station. So if you have nothing to do, come hang out. I know the firefighters have been working hard to get it up and running. Can't wait. That is it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The fire department's open for business.
They're always open.
They keep changing the names of the numbers and I get confused. We're at the old station now, right? Station 1, Station 15.
15 and 16.
Huh?
15 and 16.
We're at 15 this week.
Correct.
Yeah.
On Barrington Road.
Correct.
Okay, good. Let's see. Who's next?
Bernie.
Corporation Council report. Bernie, thank you for being with us this evening. Roger Town.
Thank you. I just want to express my gratitude for all your kind words, prayers, sympathy, and support. They're much appreciated.
Thank you. That was a shock. Trustee Kunkel?
Yes, Sister Cities Committee met 2 weeks ago. We are starting to finalize Black History Month, which tentatively we have scheduled for February 15th from 6 to 9. I'm not sure of the location yet. And we have Juneteenth also scheduled, but all that's tentative as far as what's going on with that. They did receive an IML award. That was at the IML. I believe Herb got it. Did you get the award, Herb?
Pam has it.
Okay.
Here.
And also, everybody from the committee almost came back from Cape Coast trip. Everybody said they had a good time in Cape Coast. They got to visit some of the schooling that we send funds to and stuff like that, so it was pretty interesting. Veterans Committee, we're setting up Veterans Day. It's on the 11th of November, Monday, 6 to 8. Not 7, I'm sorry, Mayor, but it's at 6.
What is it?
Veterans Day is at 6 p.m.
Oh, it's at 6.
6, yes. And then the firehouse, open house is this Saturday from 10 to 2. The Lions will be there with their hearing and sight bus. You're all welcome to come. We see everybody from about the age of like 5 up to 90. So, feel free to stop by, visit the firehouse, and enjoy climbing around all our vehicles. But I didn't tell you that. And also, the last thing I have is I was nominated to the board of the POC as one of their board of directors at the POC. That was in August.
Congratulations.
And thank you, Lisa.
I saw Lisa applaud, so that must be a positive thing. I didn't last very long.
You didn't.
Nothing
That's all I have.
gained. Thank you, John, and appreciate your good work. Trustee Bancole?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Sorry. So previously, we had, during the workshop, touched on LexisNexis and the need, what maybe some of us believe is the increased need for review as it relates to bid proposals that come before the board. I believe that I understand that there is a desire to have conversations about what LexisNexis might look like in our usage of it. There's a desire to have these conversations next year. But considering that we've as a board have been experiencing continual issues with this process, I believe that it is important to have this discussion during our budget season, so then we can know how much it might cost us, and so we don't have to do, we don't have any surprise costs in FY25. And so I am proposing that we have a report provided to the board on what using LexisNexis might look like. And I'm proposing that this is provided to the board at our next board meeting, which would be October 17th. And I understand that it takes 3 trustees to add a item of that nature to a board agenda. So I am one of the trustees.
I support that.
I would be interested in that.
Thank you.
Is that the kind of research we can get done in that time frame?
I'm not, I guess, so, as I mentioned during the workshop, Deputy Village Manager Webb did the, in conjunction with, I believe Jed was involved in it as well, on LexisNexis and the cost. So we can provide the cost of LexisNexis. As I said, I think that there needs to be a discussion about, a policy discussion about what the impacts are, the usage, in addition to the cost. And the 17th it's not something I can do on just my end. We all need to have a conversation about the impacts and how that would be carried out. And I don't think that we can do that in this setting.
Okay, and so the next meeting after the 17th is November 7th. And so I would ask that that conversation takes place during that meeting. Because I know then we get towards the end of the year, and it seems like towards the end of the year, we kind of have this like mad rush of things that we need to approve, and then we have to approve the budget and things of that nature.
Might I offer a thought on that? If we could discuss what you have just mentioned that you have available and have that as a beginning conversation, then as a result of that conversation with the board, then you will know what you need to go back and to get either in-depth information or more clarification on. So I'm proposing that maybe we can't get this all done in one meeting, and rather than calling a workshop, let's do what we can do and then have another consequential meeting to finalize the discussion and the deliberation.
That works as well.
I would say that it's not at a board meeting, but it's at one of our budget workshops. And so my suggestion would be is we go through the budget workshops and we present the budget to you as recommended, that I'm recommending, and then there's a portion at the end of that process that the board then can make requests for changes to the budget or new programs, et cetera, that we have that discussion at that point, and that'll give us a little bit more time to pull together the information that you're looking at for and give us a setting that's more free-flowing to have a conversation about its use. And I think that there would, I think we all would need to get on the same page and be able to have some frank dialogue about the use of and the application of such a program.
And when would that take place?
I'm suggesting in a workshop setting as part of one of the budget workshops. Our first budget workshop we're starting to present on October 23rd. And then I don't have the schedule in front of me, but we'll present the budget, and at the end we'll have new programs, and we'll have that conversation. We'll present it at that. I don't know what day that will be. It'll be in the next month or so. The schedule's out. It's one of many, or one of, there may be other programs as well and expenditures that you might want to raise.
And so just to clarify, so at a future workshop meeting, you will be providing the board with a report on the information that you already have as it relates to LexisNexis and the possibility of the village using it. Is that
yes
correct? Okay. And
can you tell me what
to
the
clarify,
next
the only workshop date that we currently already have set is October 23rd.
No, we have. I've asked Remy to look it up.
Calendar.
We all have a lot to learn about whatever you're talking about, because I don't know what it's
Do you
going
have
to
it?
provide. So let's do that in the board workshop, as suggested by the
After the
manager.
23rd, what's the next date?
We're looking at the dates.
Do we have consensus on that?
Yeah, but those looking at the
We're just looking at a date.
Okay.
There's another budget workshop. I'll have to get you the schedule, but we have several meetings that,
Okay. So you will follow up with the board and provide us with the date that you believe works
November
best
7th.
for you as it relates to
No.
the report that you can provide.
I'm saying, we're gonna go through the budget process. It's several meetings, and it depends on how fast we go, but at the end of all of these budget meetings, there will be a period of time where there's a discussion about new programs. I will put it on the agenda of one of the budget workshops, so that by the time we're done with the budget process, we will have had a discussion about this, and the board can decide whether they want to modify the budget recommendation to include LexisNexis or some other dollar amount to the budget for this use or.
Okay, but what I'm trying to clarify is when specifically, because many times when, sometimes trustees on this board propose things that they would like to discuss, if there's not a specific date attached to that, it sometimes does not occur. We deal with a lot of things, and I don't think it's intentional sometimes, but I had suggested November 7th, and
Yeah, we do
Right,
have a
it's
budget
suggested-
workshop on November 7th, so if we're at that point in all the departments presenting their budget, then we can do it on that date. If we move to the next, need another date, then the agenda may shift to whatever the next date is.
Okay, but can you let us know? I guess that's what I was saying. I was saying, could you follow up with the board and just let us know, you know,
Can we
we
set the
think,
budget
we think
dates,
that
put
this
it in our
date will
calendar?
work, or, and if it doesn't work, and then we're gonna do it the next time, but I don't want this to,
Fall off the shelf.
yeah, thank you.
It won't, we'll make sure.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna continue with the rest of my
Yes,
report.
we will, I thought they were already on your calendar.
Only this next one, I think.
Okay, thank you. Recently, I was able to join the American Council of Engineering Companies of Illinois for their discussion on the Illinois Tollway. I was really hoping that they would talk about 390 as it relates to our village, but it unfortunately, they spoke about every other improvement but 390. They talked about 490, they talked about I-90, I-88, 294. Just reading the list right now. And so it was interesting just to see the many roles that the Illinois Tollway plays. They also play, and I wasn't aware of this, but they play a really big role as it relates to the data centers and all the data centers that are popping up. I know that there was just a ribbon cutting in Aurora for a big data center, I think yesterday or the day before, so it was quite interesting. I continue to attend the O'Hare Noise Commission meetings. Aren't any significant updates there. I wanted to thank staff for all their efforts, especially inspectional services and community and economic development, led by Shubra, for assisting with the reopening of Caputo's. I cannot tell you how excited I am that Caputo's has reopened.
You can walk there.
Many of our residents are very excited as well. It's beautiful, and I also just want to thank the mayor as well for the work that you also put in to, you know, strengthen that relationship and ensure that that grocery store did in fact reopen. So thank you. Yeah. I wanted to give a shout out to Director Govind and the entire Community and Economic Development team for hosting a super successful Hanover Park Business After Hours event. Just happened a few weeks ago. I was provided with a little bit more information about the event and found out that there was over 70 people that attended, and there was over 10 different Hanover Park businesses that decided to participate. The food was awesome, the camaraderie was awesome, and so thank you so much to Shubra and her team for that really great event. Also wanted to flag that for our residents that live on the DuPage County side, the Forest Preserve is holding a referendum. So if you exercise your right to vote, you will see that on your ballot. It's the first referendum that the DuPage County Forest Preserve is holding in, I think, almost 20 years. And they're holding it because when we all experienced the global pandemic, all of us wanted to go outside, and they saw a huge surge, an increase in usage in their facilities and their parks, and they just realized that they could not meet the demand of the residents that were using their facilities. So they're holding a referendum to have like an incremental tax increase, and just wanted to make our DuPage County residents aware of that. And last but not least, Environmental Committee continues to meet. We're thinking about different ways to increase membership. We might be doing things with rain barrels. Looking at you, John. Might be reintroducing rain barrels if I get my way. But
we've had a big introduction of those.
I know.
A number of years ago.
I know. We're trying to bring it back. Like, you know how 2000s fashion is coming back? We're trying to bring rain barrels back as well.
Well, I got one on the Cook County side.
Yes.
So you're talking about the DuPage County side?
All the sides.
All the sides.
All the sides, all the rain barrels. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
You and I got to talk.
Okay.
You had 3 items on there that, not right now, but
Okay.
catch up on.
Sounds good.
Oh, Trustee Priggy, I forgot. I got a list here somewhere. Bob,
He says no report.
really?
That's what he just told me.
Thank you. I visited Bob today, said hi. Where am I? Trustee Albeck,
Sir,
you have anything to say for yourself?
I do actually. I want to express my appreciation for this opportunity to serve. It's for me, it's a huge honor and a privilege. I don't know, however, if I'll be able to fill the shoes of Syed Husseini, because I mean, he's not just good looking. Everybody really likes him, and I don't know if I've got any of that. This allows me to repay the warm welcome that my family received when we moved here while I was on my final deployment. So we moved here and I was 8,000 miles away. It was important to me that my family would be okay. And this community was part of that being true. So that's all I have for now, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Trustee Gutierrez.
All right, well, welcome, Troy. You are sitting in the most coveted chair on this dais for a reason, right? So I look forward to working with you. Over the summer, I've gotten to know you, and I'm excited for the work that we can do together. And if you have any questions, if you are confused about something, don't call me, just call John. You can answer. No, I'm just kidding. We're all here. So you will see us discuss things in a heated way, but always come together at the end. And that's why I really like this group of people that come together here. So welcome. I also want to, I know the chocolate cake wasn't for me, but I just want to thank you for that. And I just want to make a point that the next one be the 7-Up lemon cake. Want that on the record?
Start changing.
Yeah, you know, we got a little bit. Can I get a voting hands? We got to change. Don't be afraid. Yeah, we got to change. Yes. Just a little bit. Just a little.
We'll bring it back.
We'll bring it back, though. We're going to bring it back, I promise. I give you my word. It's gonna be my campaign slogan.
What you talking about, Willis?
We're gonna bring chocolate cake back. Okay, so, a couple of weeks ago, I was part of the panel. One of the things I do a lot is, I do a lot of public speaking. I was part of the panel for the Infrastructure Transportation Committee, as I'm part of that committee in Hanover, for Harper College, that the mayor was instrumental in starting, and on the request of Commissioner Britton, Morrison, and Maggie Trevor, we were able to come together, and we had Pace there too, so we put him on the hot seat, to say, you know, we need something, because we are Hanover Park, we're DuPage and we're Cook, and we need to connect these two modes of transportation somehow. This Pace has to talk to that Pace. And so, of course, they were saying that it's money, 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 and one of the commissioners said, well, that's always been a problem, but that doesn't stop us from solving problems, from moving forward. So I'm really excited, the fact that CMAP is looking at the area, and that initiative isn't gone. We're still working with Harper College on there greatly. It's Hispanic Heritage Month until the 15th. We get a half month September and a half month of October. I don't know why. I want to thank Barry, although he's not here, in the CIDC, because they put together a Hispanic Heritage event, which I missed. So I was sad that I wasn't there, but the pictures were amazing. I know some of you made it, and they did great work. In case you don't know it, Hanover Park is 37,000 people. 16,000 of us are Latinos living here. That's 38% that contribute to this town and to its vibrant cultural fabric. So happy Hispanic Heritage Month. The Historic Committee is continuing to scan the millions and billions of pictures that we have. And aside from that, we're also working on our coloring book, which I'm really excited for, with an amazing artist that will be discovered the day that that book comes out. They also updated the display case so you can see why our homes are built the way they are from the 1960s and why they're so odd looking. We also put historic facts in the highlighter, and the Historic Committee wants to know, they ask me this all the time, what happened to the wall of mayors, the pictures? So we did say that the pictures were not excellent quality because, you know, it was way back in the day, right? So can these pictures then, instead of having a wall of mayors, we have a TV downstairs, can we just have on the slides that we have, lots of slides, a rotation of, hey, this was the mayor way back when, and this was the mayor, like instead of a wall of mayor, a digital wall as part of the slideshow.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So I'll just, if I can add any pictures you have, Sue Krauser can post them on the.
We gave them to Sue.
Sue's got them, they just are not frameable in a nice fashion.
You know, it was 1960s, you know.
Pictures are smaller.
Pictures are smaller, they're white and black.
One of the photos you can
Crinkled.
probably get from the prison.
We're putting all of them. We're putting all of them in there. I have some questions, and so when's our next community survey? We said we were gonna do that?
So it's in the budget recommendation. It's, we need to do 2 surveys, so we're gonna try to combine them into 1 survey. We'll see how long it is. We need to do a survey in conjunction with the comprehensive plan update.
Yeah.
And we need to do a citizen survey in conjunction with the strategic planning process.
Okay.
So we're gonna try to do the survey earlier in the year so the comprehensive plan consultants can use the data for their process, but then also use it then for the strategic plan after the board's seated.
And then finally, I just want to echo something that Trustee Bancole said. I listened to other trustees from far and wide, and I hear how they're using federal funds in unique ways to get projects done. And I 1000% agree that, and as somebody who writes grants for part of my job, it's really difficult to do my day-to-day work, plus also sit down and write for a grant. So it might be good to start looking at that as part of our strategic plan, to have somebody that maybe it's a short-term, like Trustee Bancole said, a short-term contract that can bring in those federal funds because those funds are out there. So that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Porter.
Said that with a sigh.
In the best.
Okay.
With all the courtesy.
All righty. Since our last meeting, a couple things have happened. First of all, I attended the IML meeting, which was held at the Hyatt as opposed to the Chicago Hilton. Very nice facility. I think a really nice upgrade from the previous location. Very well attended by other communities, and I got to meet some of our peers from surrounding communities, and it's always good when you get a chance to share best practices. A couple of things that I attended the workshops. There was an all-day workshop, and one of the focal points was tips. And so they had numerous breakout sessions on tips, and I was able to sit in on some communities and the creative ways that they're utilizing tips to fund projects in their community. I won't go through them because of time, but one was very kind of interesting, and I wouldn't say controversial, but just very interesting, was how Aurora used what they called a micro TIF. And they used the micro TIF to specifically fund the new casino that they're building right across from the outlet mall. They're moving I guess the Hollywood casino is the one in Aurora. Is that?
From the river.
Yeah, and so they're moving it. But in order to finance that, they used a vehicle called a micro TIF, where it only applies to that one corporation in that one area. And it was a very unique way of looking at TIFs. And I think it just shows what kind of out-of-the-box thinking can do when you're looking at doing a project. And there was a lot of pros and cons, and people had different thoughts on it. But I thought it was a very unique and inventive way of looking at how to utilize TIFs. So I thought that was very interesting. Trustee Kunkel has already mentioned it, but I just thought I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we had a group go to Cape Coast, go to Ghana. They visited Accra, Kumasi, and they spent 6 days in Cape Coast for the Ghana Festival that was going on. 6 members from our Sister Cities group were able to make that trip, and they came back with just glowing reports. But some of the things that really touched them was that Hanover Park supports a women's shelter at the police station. And they say they were basically, some of them were literally almost moved to tears by the sights that they saw and the people that they saw that were utilizing the shelter. Both women and men were there at the shelter, people who had suffered different kinds of abuse that were finding some refuge at the shelter that Hanover Park sponsors. So I thought I would come back and share that, with the board and let you know. And they also visited the children's playroom at the local hospital, which Hanover Park also sponsors. And they were, again, just very moved by what they saw and how the mothers with their children, while different individuals were receiving medical treatment or, for whatever reason they were there, how the children had an outlet there at the playroom. So these are all projects, all initiatives that Hanover Park sponsors. Unfortunately, our Hanover Park school is defunct. It was a victim of COVID, and they've not had a chance to recover. We don't really know what the status of that is moving forward. We've adjusted our budget requests to reflect that we're no longer sending scholarship money to support the school. But we are still doing great work in Cape Coast, and so we just wanted to alert the board to that and to let them know what's going on there. And as John mentioned, we did receive the Sister Cities of the Year Award for our Juneteenth and Black History Month events. So we're very proud, and Pamela has those awards, and I guess we'll get those to you, Lisa, so you can include them in our trophy case back there. We're gonna need a bigger case because we keep getting all these awards. So you're gonna...
Right. The Historic Committee wants to know if you will be donating to the Historic Committee for us taking care of your case?
Will we be donating? Yeah, yeah. We'll have that discussion offline. And finally, it was mentioned a little bit earlier, as you may know, that I am a commissioner on the Cook County Housing Authority, and we had the groundbreaking and opening for the Chicago Heights Veterans Community Center. And when I heard, and I knew that we'd been working on this project for a number of years, and so I invited the mayor, Chappie, Troy was there with us as we saw the ribbon cutting and the ground opening. And the reason that I wanted them to attend is because I knew that the Al Huda property was going to be coming vacant soon as they're moving to a larger facility and they're looking to sell that. And it immediately dawned on me that that would be a very suitable place for veterans housing. And I know how committed Hanover Park is to supporting veterans. Every year we win awards from the Department of Labor for our Hire Veterans Initiative, and you know, we do a great job in our support of veterans. So I asked our executive director, Ms. Danita Childers, if there would be any interest. She was very interested in following through on that, and we also got buy-in from the Illinois Department of Housing, who also wants to collaborate with us as we look into possibly constructing at the former Al Huda Academy a veterans housing project. Again, I think it would be a wonderful site. There's already some housing, assisted living housing in the area on the Streamwood side, so it's some continuity and use that will be going on there. I think some of the disadvantaged special needs homes are right there. It had been proposed that maybe the Park District might want to use it for an indoor soccer stadium or field, but I think that the location doesn't lend itself to that kind of use because of the high traffic on Irving Park and Barrington Road, and there's no walking access for kids to go there and do soccer. So I'm really hoping that once we go further, and we do have a meeting that's scheduled on the 11th of this month, where we will be having another discussion to further explore the possibility of utilizing that space. And as I'm talking, Schubert, I don't know if you've been in this loop or in the link, but I'd like to invite you to that Zoom meeting that we're going to have on the 11th. I think it's important maybe that you sit in on that. So I'll send you the information and alert the principals that you'll be joining us on that meeting. I'd like to have you there and have your voice and your eyes and ears on what we're talking about. I think that would be helpful. So to do that, and that'll be on the 11th of October at 11 a.m. I'll send you the Zoom link and the information that you need to participate in that. So I think that would be great. And finally, at the IML, I forgot to mention that, you know, there's talk about what we're going to do with the grocery tax, because as of I think it's been pushed now to 2026.
January.
That it's going to be eliminated, and it'll be on us to figure out how we're going to manage that shortfall in revenue, which brings me back to the whole revenue discussion. I just have some concerns about what we're doing with other taxes other than property taxes. We raised the water bill tax, you know, we're talking about doing a gas tax increase, and we have all of these other little taxes, but we take solace in the fact that we didn't raise property taxes, but we're raising all of the other fees in town. And I just want to make sure that, you know, as we're doing that, we're taking into account that when families sit around and figure out their budgets, they really don't care that the tax is coming from here, there, and the other. All they know is that it's getting more expensive to live in town because of all of these fees and things that we're adding. And I think we got to be very, very careful and not to say that we haven't been, but I would like to suggest that we use the utmost care when we look at raising any fees on our residents, because you know, there are people that are struggling. You know, the cost of everything is high, and even though all of the indicators say the economy is doing well, the average person is still struggling. They're still struggling, and when we come with them with another increase, they're not going to think, oh, well, you're no worse than Bartlett, or you're the same as Streamwood, or you're the same as this community. You know, everybody else is doing it. That's not going to offer any consolation to our residents when they look at it. And on the other hand, I know we've got to support our projects. You know, we've got to have a revenue stream to support our projects. I just want to make sure that we're giving all consideration to our residents when we hit them with these fees, because we may not look at it in a conglomerate or, you know, in one package, but they are looking, and they will say, well, you know, you raised the water taxes, and you raised this, and now you're raising the gas tax, and at some point, people start moving out of town, and they start moving out of state, and they start leaving the community, and we just, you know, want to make sure that we're doing everything to make Hanover Park an affordable place to live, work, and raise a family. You know, we want to make sure we live true to that motto. And that concludes my report.
Can't agree more. I think we've looked at this years ago, and so looking at it again, don't have a problem with it. I think we've been smart for the people of Hanover Park, especially comparatively. And I want to say that the Veterans Initiative would certainly bring more people to town, which raises the revenue component. Anyway, with that, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
9:12.
I'm trying to figure out how I got my coat from chocolate cake.
Gee, I'm trying the whole time.